All right, let's do roll call.
Representative Campbell.
Here.
Representative Connolly.
Here.
Representative Harshman.
Excused.
Representative Jarvis.
Here.
Representative Provenza.
Here.
Representative Storer.
Excused.
Representative Thayer.
Present.
Representative Wharf.
Here.
Chairman Byron.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Tanner. For the record, Representative Jarvis was first here today, the first time this session, so she would like that noted. Welcome, Senator Nethercott. I'm not even gonna go over decorum because I trust the few folks in this room. If you want to go ahead and introduce Senate File and 171, and the floor is yours.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, and thanks for hearing this bill. I know we're getting short on time. Good representatives, this is a good little bill, a truly good little bill. What we're doing is we are eliminating regulatory, unnecessary regulatory requirements associated with surveys. And so here in Cheyenne, our engineers and surveyors and city planners all identified an area of statute that has a redundancy in it associated with the requirement to get a survey primarily after an annexation. And so this bill reduces that second requirement for that unnecessary second survey. With that, Mr. Chairman, and your permission, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Bloom from the city of Cheyenne, who can really explain in detail and accuracy what the bill does on the ground.
Absolutely, Mr. Bloom. Welcome to House TRW. Please proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, through you to members of the committee, thank you for taking time out of your lunch to have this discussion and consider this. First of all, this is a bill that essentially undoes a requirement to put survey monumentation in after annexation. What is monumentation? Those are those metal posts in the corners that you see in the ground. Sometimes they get removed, they disappear and stuff like that. The reason this is important is it really is a redundant process. Typically when a development occurs, what happens is the next step is folks go through the entitlement to create lots, develop, identify where streets are, engineer everything. And then once all of that is approved, which could be between 60 days all the way up to 2 years, even longer, the next step is to grade. You go there, you grade, you level the site. And when that occurs, those monuments are ripped up and destroyed and no longer in place. And then when the subdivision is done, they're required under state statute in Title 32 to remonument, identify the corners of the lots. So the intent of this is to remove duplication. So a duplication of efforts and duplication of costs. The survey is really hard to pinpoint how much it costs to send someone out to monument, but it does have a cost that can range anywhere from $8,000 to even higher depending on the size of the area annexed. How did this come up? This came up in discussion with a couple of surveyors, notably when they had identified, or a couple of engineers. One of them had identified how this was a process that was added in 2007. It was uncertain why it was added. It was added while they were doing some cleanup of some archaic language that's in the subsection as well. And they noted that this sometimes may not be followed by everyone, but it is definitely a duplication of efforts and something that is unnecessary. With that, I ask for your support in this bill, and I'm open for any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Bloom. Senator Nethercott.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I always just say survey, and it's the survey monuments issue. Just
Thank you
clarity
for
on
that
that.
clarification. Committee, any questions of Mr. Bloom or Senator Nethercott on Senate File 171? Questions? All right. Thank you, Senator Nethercott. Thank you, Mr. Bloom. Anyone in the room like to have public comment on Senate File 171?
Mr.
Hall,
Chairman, Matt
welcome.
Hall with Wyoming Association of Municipalities. I think the good senator and Mr. Bloom did a very good job presenting this bill, and we are definitely in full support of it. And with that, I'll stand for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Any questions, Mr. Hall? Representative Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I figured, take the time. We should have some questions maybe. I know
typically, I mean, as far as process goes, when there's a bill or something introduced of this nature, WHAM reaches out to municipalities and to see if they are, in support of or opposition to. Did you hear any opposition to this from municipalities?
Mr. Hall?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Representative Campbell. No, we have no opposition towards this. Obviously, with Mr. Bloom here representing the city of Cheyenne, one of our more largest municipalities. We know we have concurrence within our organization, and everyone feels this is a good piece of legislation. A good effort to reduce regulation, and allow a little bit more local control, which is always nice to hear.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Committee, any other questions, Mr. Hall? Representative Thayer?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And a great conversation we had before. I did reach out to our city attorney, and she had some concerns. We've talked it through. The biggest thing is May. This is eliminating reduction. She said there's going to be chances when they're going to still want to do a survey to clarify, but, her original was it's immediate cost savings, flexibility, beneficial. So that was a good thing. She just had some consequences, but again, with that word may on the top of page 2 alleviated those concerns. So thank you.
Thank you, Representative Thayer. Representative Worf?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I look at this, it says it's a regulatory reduction. It troubles me that it's only 2 pages. I mean, why aren't we reducing more? I would think if we're doing something of significance, we'd have books that we're removing. It's 2 lines.
Thank you, Representative Worf.
Thanks for your efforts, so.
I concur with that. There was a lot of efforts put forth towards that through the last 2 years, and that's where they ended, seemed to be at the end of that select committee. Any other questions of Mr. Bloom, Mr. Hall, or Senator Nethercott? Representative Provenza?
I would just like to reply to Representative Worf. Given that it's an act relating to cities and towns, you might see a lot of amendments upstairs that don't really relate to this bill.
All right, anyone else in the room for public comment? Anyone else in the room for public comment?
Mr. Chairman, Rennie McKay, President of the Wyoming Business Alliance, just wanted to say thanks for working on this bill. I got to serve on that regulatory reduction task force this year, and it just did not come through that committee, but really appreciated that we had the chance to also be kind of looking at where there might be some efficiencies. And so appreciated Mr. Bloom finding one and Senator Nethercott running this to bring it forward to you, because it does, I think you said it very well, Representative Thayer. This is a nice little cleanup that should make it a little easier to do business in Wyoming. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. McKay, and we will hop to online now. If Tanner, you want to go ahead and let Ms. Ruth in the room, if she's available. Coming, okay.
Good afternoon. Can you all hear me okay?
Yep, we got you. The floor is yours. Please introduce yourself and carry on.
Wonderful. Melissa Ruth, I am on the board of the Wyoming Planning Association, or WyoPass. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this afternoon, and I'll be brief since I believe Mr. Bloom covered pretty much everything that there is to mention on this bill. We at WyoPass stand in support of this bill. It's a great, as Mr. Bloom mentioned, it's a great opportunity to reduce regulation and provide for more of that local control. So I'll stand for any questions. WyoPass does have membership of cities and counties of the like. So.
Thank you, Ms. Ruth. Appreciate that. Committee, any questions? Hearing none, we appreciate you joining us today at House TRW. Anyone else? One last opportunity. Okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment. Committee, what is your pleasure on Senate File 171? The bill has been moved by Representative Campbell, seconded by Representative Provenza. Discussion on the bill. Amendments to the bill. Let's work the bill. Starting page 1, any amendments? Page 2, any amendments?
Question.
Question being called. Tanner, this will be a roll call vote on Senate File 171.
Mr. Chairman, this is a roll call vote for Senate File 171. Representative Campbell,
Aye.
Representative Connolly,
Aye.
Representative Harshman, Representative Jarvis,
Aye.
Representative Provenza,
Aye.
Representative Storer,
Aye.
Representative Thayer,
Aye.
Representative Wharf,
Aye.
Chairman Byron.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, there are 9 aye.
Appreciate that, Tanner. With that, that clears the deck for House TRW today. Welcome, Vice Chair Harshman. Hey, committee, real quick, we will meet tomorrow in the Historic Supreme Court chambers to discuss interim topics. Tanner has some printouts for us regarding that. I do have to present a bill at that time, but we will meet with our Senate counterparts. Those are available. I know Representative Wharf has a conflict. This is not going to be our last time to talk about this, but it's going to be our best time to talk about it upon noon adjournment as a group. And then we will have one more meeting on Thursday to hear one more bill. So plan that, maybe 2. With that, we are adjourned. Historic House Chambers tomorrow upon noon adjournment.
Is it joint or just?
It is joint. Yep, we're just informal discussion on, I think you have a, yep, the packets of interim topics. I just want everyone to, if you have a chance